beyond the summit. She lost both legs at 5. Now she climbs mountains to inspire the world. Most people see a vertical granite wall and think impossible. She sees Tuesday. The wind is brutal at 14,000 feet. It tears your jacket, steals your breath, and makes your fingers ache in ways you did not know fingers could ache. Most climbers grip their ropes with white knuckles at this altitude, eyes wide with a primal mixture of awe and terror, every muscle in their body screaming the same ancient warning: you do not belong here. Maya Reyes does not hear that warning. She never has. She shifts her weight onto 2 carbon fiber prosthetic legs, each one a marvel of engineering, each one forged from the same obsessive human desire to overcome that has defined her entire existence. She reads the granite face above her the way a musician reads sheet music, finding rhythm in what others see as chaos. Then she reaches up, finds her hold, and climbs. Part 1. The moment everything changed. Maya was 5 years old on a Saturday in March 2005 when a delivery truck ran a red light on a quiet suburban street in Tucson, Arizona. She had been riding her bicycle, a pink one with streamers on the handlebars that she had received for her birthday 3 weeks earlier. She remembers the color of the sky that afternoon. She remembers the sound of her mother calling her name from the porch. She does not remember the impact. What followed was a blur of white hospital ceilings, hushed adult voices, and the particular silence that descends on a family when a doctor says words no parent is ever prepared to hear. Both legs. Irreparable damage. Amputation was the only path forward. Maya was 5. She did not fully understand what that meant. She understood it later. The first time she tried to stand on the prosthetics and fell. The second time she fell. The 18th time. She understood it in the faces of children at school who stared and then looked quickly away. She understood it the first time a well-meaning adult told her, with soft eyes and a tilted head, that she should be proud of herself simply for showing up. I did not want people to be proud of me for showing up. I wanted to be so remarkable that they could not look away for a completely different reason. The early years of adaptation were, by Maya's own account, the loneliest of her life. Her first prosthetics were functional but rigid, the clinical kind designed for navigating hallways and grocery stores, not for a restless child who wanted to run barefoot in the rain. She felt caged by them. She felt defined by them in the wrong direction, not as a tool that set her free, but as a daily reminder of everything that had been taken from a 5-year-old on a Saturday afternoon. She stopped sleeping well. She stopped laughing the way she used to laugh. Her mother, Carmen, a former high school track coach with a quiet fierceness that Maya would later recognize as the source of her own, watched her daughter retreat inward with mounting alarm. She was disappearing, Carmen said in an interview years later. Not physically. Emotionally. The light was going out, and I did not know how to stop it. Part 2. The Spark. It happened on a Tuesday afternoon in September 2014, when Maya was 14 years old and Carmen drove her to a community rec center for what she vaguely described as something different. Maya sulked in the passenger seat, arms crossed, certain this was another in a long series of well-intentioned therapeutic activities she had endured: adaptive swimming, chair yoga, motivational seminars where everyone clapped too loudly. She did not expect the climbing wall. It was 40 feet tall, textured with multicolored plastic holds, buzzing with teenagers who scrambled up and fell and laughed and tried again. A teenage boy with chalk-covered hands was dangling off a particularly overhanging section, grunting with effort, completely absorbed in the problem of not falling. He did not look at Maya when she rolled her chair through the door. Nobody did. They were too busy climbing. Maya touched the wall. She pressed her palm flat against the rough texture of it and felt something she had not felt in a very long time: curiosity. The instructor, a weathered woman named Jess who had the handshake of someone who spent her weekends on Reyes Rock, knelt down and looked at Maya's prosthetics without pity, without excessive gentleness, with the same assessing squint she gave the wall. "Those are carbon fiber," she said. "Good. They'll grip better than rubber." Maya was on the wall within 20 minutes. She fell within 30 seconds. She got back up. That was the moment. Not when I reached the top the first time. When I fell, and the world did not end, and I decided I wanted to fall again. Part 3. The Ascent. What followed was not a montage of easy victories. This is the part of Maya's story that gets edited out of inspirational articles and condensed into a single triumphant sentence. The years of grinding work that preceded the summit. She spent 2 years on indoor walls before she touched real rock. She developed a technique uniquely her own, using her prosthetics as precision tools, reading surfaces for the specific friction her carbon fiber feet could exploit, developing extraordinary upper body strength to compensate for the reduced sensory feedback in her lower limbs. She fell hundreds of times. She developed calluses that climbers twice her age were quietly envious of. She cried in her car more than once. There were competitors who dismissed her. A regional youth championship judge who suggested, with bureaucratic neutrality, that her adaptive equipment might give her an unfair mechanical advantage on certain routes. A climbing forum thread, which Maya made the mistake of reading at 17, that debated whether her achievements could really count. A sponsorship rejection letter that included the phrase, "not quite the image we are looking for." She folded that letter in half, then in half again, and pinned it above her training board. At 19, she completed her first outdoor multi-pitch route in the Cochise Stronghold, a series of granite walls in southeastern Arizona that had humbled climbers for generations. She did it without publicity, without a camera crew, with only Jess belaying below and the sound of desert wind. At the top, she did not raise her arms. She sat down on a ledge the width of a dictionary and looked at the landscape spreading toward the horizon, and she was quiet for a very long time. "I was not thinking about inspiring anyone," she says. "I was thinking that the granite looked exactly the same from up here as it did from down there. And somehow that was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen." Part 4. Transforming survival into a beacon. The cameras came eventually, not because Maya sought them, but because the climbing community is smaller than it seems and news travels on chalk dust and shared ropes. A video shot on a friend's phone during a bouldering session in Yosemite Valley found its way onto social media in 2022. Maya, then 22, climbing an overhanging V8 problem with a fluidity that made experienced climbers stop and watch, her prosthetics finding holds that human feet would have slid from. The video reached 4 million people in 48 hours. The messages that followed were not all about climbing. They were from amputees, from children with disabilities, from parents watching their kids disappear behind walls of pain that none of them had the language for. They were from people who had never held a rope in their lives, but who recognized something in Maya's movement that they needed to see. Not the absence of limitation, but the complete refusal to be defined by it. Maya now coaches adaptive climbing, speaks at schools across the Southwest, and is completing her degree in kinesiology. She has summit peaks in 3 countries on 2 continents. She is currently preparing for her most ambitious route yet, a technical ascent in Patagonia that her climbing partners describe, with cheerful understatement, as pretty serious. She still trains on Tuesdays. "I am not here to prove that disability does not matter. It matters. It changed everything about my life. I am here to prove that changed is not the same as finished." Closing, the takeaway. Maya Reyes lost both legs before she was old enough to understand what legs meant. She found, in the most vertical and unforgiving environment imaginable, that what she had left was not a consolation, it was a foundation. Grit is not the absence of fear. It is the decision, made fresh every single morning, to be more interested in the summit than in the fall. She is 24 years old. She is just getting started.